Hey, welcome back to Jameson's Repair Shop. New year, getting back on the Thunderbird here. Had a great Christmas. Hope you guys did as well. Great Christmas and New Year's. So yeah, but now it's time to get back on and do some work. I got pretty lazy and a little bit fatter over the holidays. So now that we finished the torque box inside, it's all patched in and sealed up. I have to, and I have this support piece that runs through, that goes behind the rear quarter window regulator. Now it's the outer piece of the member here. We cut it off early on in this project, so it goes right here. So I have to rebuild this one. It's a pretty straightforward piece. It is a 14 gauge. And this is the one that holds the support mount for the quarter window. It also holds, well, that's the support mount right here. And I bead blasted that while I was doing a bead blasting. And it's pretty thin, so I'm going to have to make a new one, I'm pretty sure. And also the mount, the quarter window bracket is on this one. It has to be built. It's a pretty straightforward piece though. It's just anyway, we'll get into that in time. It has to be unbolted. But what else is in here? This is 14 gauge, I think I mentioned that. But what else is in here? There's a piece that goes along the top, adds added support. And it looks to be more than 14 gauge. It may even be 12, but I'll have to measure it. It might be 14, but I'll measure it up. I think I have some, no, it's 14. So it's just an L bracket. But I'll bring you in and show you all this stuff. So that's what we're doing in this video. We'll get this piece built. Now there is one thing that I can't do just yet. I can't weld this piece completely on yet. And I want to thank George for sending me more pictures. He sent me pictures of the inside of the wheelhouse in here around that torque box. Because what there's a filler piece that goes in there. But there also is, the information he sent had all on the inside of this area here, which is the part of the wheelhouse. And what I got from the pictures is that there's some of this goes actually inside here, along with like wedged between, jammed between this piece, and in here some of the wheelhouse support goes in there as well. So I can't weld this on permanently until I get this front of this wheelhouse built. But I can build this piece. So that's what we're going to be doing, building this piece and going from there. So let me bring you in and I'll show you a little closer what needs to be built here. Okay, before we start on that, on this piece right here, let's bring it in on it. So a little closer to anybody that's not familiar with this. This is the bracket that holds the bottom of the quarter window right there. And again, like I said, this is there's a support. It would sit sort of like underneath. It goes on the other side. I cut the center out of that. You're wondering why that's open. There's a piece that actually goes, I don't know where it is, one of these pieces. Anyway, it's been cut down. But there's also this bracket here, and it sits, and what it does, when it sits on top, this is where it supports the quarter window, bottom of the quarter window. But anyway, I want to go through a couple other things before we get into this job. So what I've got going on over here, and these will be videos I think in the future. First one, I've got a motor for my bead roller. It's an old wheelchair motor. I've had them for a long time. I had a remote control lawnmower at one time I built, and I used these wheelchair motors. So this motor here, I had to dig through my old shed at 30 some below zero to get it, and I don't really want to do that again right now. So when I brought it in, I knew one motor had a clicking sound in it. And of course that's, 50-50 chance and 95% of the chance you're wrong. Anyway, I brought the one that had the clicking sound in it. But anyway, I think I got it cured. It must have been something in the grease. So I'm getting rid of the old grease. I'll just turn it on. It's pretty quiet now. And that's just mineral spirits in there right now. And also I'm running it off this, will be running this motor off this controller. Right now it's just hooked to a power supply. This is a 24 volt motor. I'll deal with that, no problem. So I got it turned on. Let's just see her go. If you've never seen inside one of these wheelchair motors, this is how it works. It's like a windshield washer motor almost. It's got a little clicky. It's still a little clicky. But I mean, how much are we going to be running this thing? Like you can with this controller, you can bring it right down to a stop. And of course, with this controller, you can also go in the opposite direction, like that. So this is the plan, and I have a foot pedal as well. I don't really know where it is right now, but I'll find it. I've had it for quite a while for this job. So that's part of the upgrades to the bead roller. Anyway, so what I did, I ordered a set of dies for my bead roller. So when I got this bead roller, of course, it's a Princess Auto rig, and you've seen, if you've been following me, you've seen me do these upgrades here, spring and put grease fittings in. But these dies are, I mean, they work, but they're not great. So I'll be mounting the motor on this end. But what I did, thanks to Carl at Make It Custom, he did a video on bead roller dies just recently. Go look at it, it's great. He suggested a set of bead roller dies from KMS. They're a Canadian company. Mostly Western Canada, well, are Western Canada, and mainly BC. But they have an online site that you can go online and order the stuff. So over Christmas, they had a special on the dies that Carl was talking about on his channel, Make It Custom, from that company. They're Magnum dies, I think they're called. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. It's a complete set, and there was also they had a sale on the tipping die that Carl mentioned. Fortunately, since this is a little bit noisy motor, if it doesn't work out, I do have another one. Anyway, so we'll leave that. There is another project that's in progress right now, and I did start this one yesterday. Yesterday, I think, was January 2nd. And what I'm trying to do, now this is a battery out of our Sprinter van. So I'm not going to go into great detail what's going on here, but it's I'm trying to desulfide that battery. And I have an experiment on that, and this is what I'm working on. So I'll just put that on the back burner for now. This may take some time. I started doing it, and then I lost one of my terminals broke. For the negative side terminal broke, so I have to go get one. But that's a sideline job. But when I do put the video out, it may be Merry Christmas and all that jazz, because I did do it previous to this video. Anyway, so we'll set that aside for now, and we'll get back on the Thunderbird. All right, now that we got all the projects covered that's coming up in the future, plus the Thunderbird, I'm starting to work on this piece. So you can better see what I'm talking about, this insert support brace. It's not very big, it's pretty simple to make. But what I want to do, I want to save this nut plate. So, for this bracket. So what I'm going to do, I started already and I realized, hey, maybe I should show what I'm doing here. Instead of just, voila, there's a new part. But anyway, let's move on. So I started to drill this out. It's quite hard to sharpen my bits. Get that bolt out, and I'll be able to save the remainder of this plate, and hopefully I can get that nut plate out, and then I can actually get into the meat of it. I'm bad for jumping ahead sometimes. All right, I just wanted to make sure everybody didn't feel like I did something behind the scenes, because there is, on this insert, because there is this plate, this hole will have to be put in and all that, and I'll cover it all. I'll cover it. I won't go into great detail, and I'll just say this is what I did, kind of thing. All right. There now, I got that out. And I was just going over this piece. There's where I took that nut plate out. And, you know, a lot of times you think these are just a basic thing, nothing special. You just bend up a new piece, put in. But there's more to these than that, or this piece anyhow. We've got the drain holes that need to be put in. Now, they don't have to be 100%, because this is a rubber drain flap that goes on these things. And it would be underneath. Like, so this would be pointing down like that. So you have to record it's this close to the back and all that jazz. And of course, then there's this hole has to be put in. And there's also, looks like another drain hole there. And then these are the forward rivet points for the rocker. So there's things happening on this piece that have to be documented. So I'm gonna map, oh yeah, and then there's this, that's where that support goes for the quarter window support. That goes right there. So that's why I didn't want to bend this flat and measure it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut myself a piece of 14 gauge. All right, so I got it laid out, this piece. So this is the break I'm making right here now, this one. So it's a 90 degree. My break isn't wide enough. It's only 4 inch, and this is 10 inches. Anyway, we'll see what we get. So I'm going to do it in steps, just like that, and I can't even get all the way over. So I may have to, I'll fiddle with it, slow steps at a time, take my time. Once I get it bent, it'll go in. Yeah, you know what? If I can get her done, I can get her done. There we go. I'll just keep, whoop, stick fell down. I'll just keep moving it back and forth until I get her done. I can't even turn it the other way because it's wider, it's longer than it is wide. So this is the easiest for my little break I have here. We'll get her. Oops, not up. There we go. May have to finish, you know, crisping it up a little on the over a piece of railway track or something. So once you get her, she seems to settle down once you get it in place. Now I did leave a little tolerance on each side for the bend, but I'm going to be checking it every bend I make to make sure it's going where I want it to go. All right. And this is 14 gauge in case I didn't mention it before. Now once you start it, it seems to want to track in there pretty good. There she goes. I could probably take it over to my regular brake. At this point, it would probably break it. It seems to be, you know, once you get it started. There, she's coming. She's coming. Getting it even is going to be a little bit eyeballing. And like I said, I could always crispen it up maybe on my regular brake. Alright, I'm going to see how that looks before I go any further. It's not bad. It's not a full 90 yet. Pretty darn close, but I'm going to go out to my regular brake and see if I can just sharpen it up a bit. There she goes. She's not bad. I'll put square on it and check it out. Then there's a flange that has to go on here, and that will go up. And this will be the top of the piece that's going in. All right, so let me continue on. Now I'm going to bend this flange upward. Now I almost blocked myself in there, so something to keep in mind. And now I had to transfer the line, the brake line, over on the top. So again, this is the top of the piece, and like I said, I almost blocked myself in, but there is enough room to do this, but it was close. So yeah, I mean, it's all learning. And will I make a mistake? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I probably will. I'll probably make a mistake, but that's okay. There's nothing we can't fix, you know. Just because you make a bend, one thing about metalworking, it's more forgiving than woodworking, that's for sure. I've done woodworking and make a mistake, and then you've lost a sheet of plywood or whatever, right? Oh, this doesn't need to be here. Put that up there anyway. So I'm leaving an inch or a little better for a flange, because up here, and then I can trim it off. Just leaving a little extra. It's not a bad edge, but it's not perfect, so I'm allowing for a little extra. And that didn't come out too bad, considering it's not really wide enough to do the job. That's not quite on there. But getting started and being in the right place is important when you start. Once you get that brake started, it pretty much finds its own self. There, let's go back. Don't get greedy now. I'm bad for that. I'm bad for getting greedy. There we go. Trying to do too much at once. That's how you get to do it over again, doing too much at once. And again, this is another 90 degree, so. I allowed, what did I say on the chart? 7.62 millimeters for it's a minimum bend. This is a pretty sharp one, so it's almost the minimum that you're going to get. Well, no, that's not true. You can bend further. But hey, I don't really fully understand these charts, so don't take my word for it. I used to just whack them up there and never gave in. Then I would just do the bends, guess at it, and redo it a couple times. That's how I used to do it. Now I'm trying to be a little bit better with it. Alright, let's see what we're getting. It's coming nice. It's coming nice, actually. Oh, and I put it on the big bend, the brake, and I couldn't do anything with it. So I actually just took it over to my steel sawhorse and straightened it out some, just on the corners. What's this look like? Not bad. I can tap that over if I have to. Now I have to measure. Well, I'm going to measure. I'm going to do better than measure on this one. I'm going to do a comparison. Mind you, I did cut the flange off, so I don't have a lot of that to go on. But when I cut it off, I cut it right at the base of the flange. So let's see what we've got going on here. All right. So that's a little bit out there. If you can see that or not. I mean, it would fit like that over it. And that's how I measured it. So I should have taken a little away. So that bend is a little bit too far out. And that's not going to work. So I'm going to have to pound that back out and bring that back, because I didn't allow for a flush like that. Like I said, I'll do it a couple times. It's okay. Let me get that straightened out and I'll bend it again. It's pretty easy to bend, so it's not a big deal. Looks like I got her now. All right, let's have a look at her. Hopefully you can see that. So what I did, I'm guessing at some of it because, like a fool, I didn't measure it when I took it off. Then there's the thickness of the cutoff blade plus a little deviation because I can see it moves. It's been moving around, and the angle of the grinder and all that kind of jazz. But it'll be close enough. Time I get this bent at 90, I'm not going to worry too much about, you know, the thickness of that, because we're just talking about in and out. As long as I can get like I put it on first, and I can, the rocker piece, the end of the rocker that I have, it'll be built on this piece, so if it has to take up a little of the slack, that's fine too. Alright, so let me get this done, and I'll get back to you. There's going to be a few jiggy joggies on this one. There we go, I think I got her pretty good. So she comes around, it's got the curve started there. I put this in my, just over my bench with a block of steel and clamped it down. I had a mishap with my bench press vice brake. This is what happens when you don't know when to stop. So split the lower die on it. Anyway, it's still got a nice little V there. I use it for something. Life is life. Moving on. It worked well when it worked, or while it worked, until I got overzealous. Hey, anyway, that's part of doing the business. Making mistakes and owning up to them and moving on. All right, well, let's get her done. We got this. We got that brake done, and we got the flange, so we're working our way around. So now I've got this curve here doing it. So I'm going to measure the radius. I have a set of radius gauges. And I'm going to measure the radius, and I'll probably I have a piece of steel, I think. Well, actually, I don't think I'll bother measuring the radius. I'll just see what piece of steel I have that'll fit in there. And I'm quite sure I have a piece that is that same radius. So let's get her done. I won't be careful. I'll do it the same way. I'll just clamp it to the bench, and I used these to give it extra leverage. But now I'm getting down to where there's not so much leverage, so I may have to put a snipe on these ones. We'll get her. We'll get her. Can't let this stuff shag you up, or you'll never get anything done. So let's get moving. But I'm going to measure and make sure that the distances are good first, like, because I don't want it to be wonky when I put it on the car. So, all right, let me get her done. All right, before we get back at that piece that I built for the Thunderbird, this parcel came. And I know what's in it. This is the bead roller dies from KMS Tools. Let's have a look-see. We won't be going into bead rolling today because I got Thunderbird work to do, but I will show you a peek inside the box as she comes. Alright, that's the Magnum set, I guess. That's the tipping dies. Let's have a look. And these were $20 for the set. The upper and lower die for these tipping dies. On sale from KMS Tools. There they are. Nice. So really it just consists of a solid one and a tapered one. Let's just take a peek. I mean, I could have done a big unboxing on this, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just kind of cool to get these new tools. So there's a tipping die. So we'll put that aside. Of course, the base for it. And these will, we'll go through all this stuff when I get the motor on the bead roller. Invoice. So that was $20, like I said, Canadian. This stuff came free shipping because it's out of Canada, and KMS, if you spend more than $100, you get these free shipping. So now these are, I think, regular $250 or so, $230 on KMS Tools. They were on sale over Christmas for $156 for this set here. So I thought it was a good deal for a set of bead roller dies. There they are, Magnums, yep. Here we go. And we'll go through which one's in there. And here is the configurations for these dies here. For this particular set. So you can mix and match them if you need to. They're all lettered. I mean lettered on paper. You have to identify them on by visual. So what this came with, start in the corner. I don't know all the ins and outs of them. But there's rollover dies, or I mean stepping dies, and there's flaring dies and beading dies. So like I said, we'll go through all this, but what came in it as well is this sleeve that goes over the shaft for doing soft work. So that's in there. Anyway, we'll box this back up. We'll get it boxed up and put away for now, and we'll go through all that when the time comes. But that's great. I've been waiting for those. Actually, I don't think I need 2 boxes of these sitting out. Man, I keep them in my hands. I'm not going to get much done if I keep dropping them on the floor. Alright, there's a box of dies right there. So, I'll get rid of these boxes and stuff, and we'll get back on to the Thunderbird parts. There's these end caps that go on these, and from the factory they look to have been broken over. I think I'm just going to take a piece of steel. I got a piece here that needs to be cleaned up. And I'm just going to weld it right on the end, and then I'll cut out, I'll mark off distances like for flanges that need to be there, because there are metals that get welded to those flanges, so it's important that they're there. You just can't leave it open. So I'm going to do that first, and then there's a holes to put in that I spoke of earlier. So let me get this cleaned up, and I'm going to get it welded on. I'm going to kind of rough cut it out first, because I have a pattern, so I'll just draw it out. I'll flip it up and draw it out, and I'll have a pretty good template right there. And I know it fits the car. And then also, have to cut the flanges on this. Yeah, you can still see it. Okay, so I have to cut the flanges to length. Well, let's get this piece done first. I got the end cap welded on, welded inside and out, both sides. So now I'm going to cut out the area, the size of the flange, and then I'm going to grind it all off. I may grind it off first, whatever I decide to do, however I feel. I think I'll probably grind it all off first, because I may do some more welding and it'll keep it from, I mean, that stuff's not warping much at all. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing now. There it is. Still a little warm, but yeah, I just welded the cap on. Like I said, I welded the inside. This metal's all been treated with the phosphoric acid. That's why it's got that gray sheen to it. And that's what phosphoric acid does to it. It gives a pickling. And that's what, if you look up phosphoric acid in the past, that's what it was used for a lot, was pickling steel to prevent rust during, you know, for short periods of time, depending on the course of the humidity and all that jazz. But anyway, so that's that. And now we're going to have to get in these holes and things. So I'll be transferring these holes over on it, and there's a hole there as well. And then I'll be cutting it to length, and that's as far as I'll be able to really go. I might be able to tack it on, but I want to wait because I'm not sure what needs to go between this and that piece I built. I'm pretty sure, but I'm just not 100% sure. So I'll get the holes in. Oh yeah, and then there's this piece here that we talked about, getting the bracket, the rib nut for the bracket, for the window regulator bracket, which I have to make, and I also have to make the window regulator support bracket. All right, let's continue on. All right, here we go. I got those two holes in. Actually, there were two holes. There was one back there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a hole kind of tucked way up under there. Right up there, sorry. I cut it in half when I took it out, and there's a hole there. And I got that drain hole put in. I'm going to clean up that with the file a little bit yet. Not important. And I decided to go with the cage nut. I'm thinking, well, I was going to use a rib nut. And then I thought, well, I bought a Thunderbird with a whole bunch of spare parts, and it's the same cage nut, roughly is the same as the fenders and stuff. So I think I have a few. All right, so that's pretty much it. So now the flanges are cut. It's not cut to length, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give it another treatment of phosphoric acid on the area I worked, and then I'm going to prime the whole inside. And then I'll put some holes in for plug welds, top and bottom. And then that part will be ready to fit in the car. It won't be ready to weld in the car, but ready to fit once I trim it. So when I go to fit it in, I'll trim it back. All right, there she is. Got some all the holes put in. I got some plug weld holes put in. Got her primed. And I'm feeling kind of guilty that I've been dragging my butt the last few days on this project and not giving you guys some videos. So with all that said, I think I'm just going to call it quits on this video. And next one, I'll start building the brackets for the quarter window. And also I have to do that support piece that goes inside here. But that's just a piece of 90 degree 14 gauge. And it'll have to be welded on the car before I weld this on. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch up with you in the next one. All right, take care, guys.